there's filter method, the other one is reduce method, and then there is the map method. We do know that the map method and the filter method returns an array, not a value, returns an array. And then we also know that the reduce method basically returns a value. So what we have to do is put the method that returns a value instead of an array to the end. So basically you would understand this with an example. Let's say that we do have an array named as movements, and we do have, let's say, 100 euro here, 200 euro, 300 euro. Okay, this is an array. Now as we know that these are the euros, now if I want to convert these euro to USD, let's say I have to multiply each of the element in the array to 1.1. Now I will make a function movements to USD is equal to, now what I will do is I will use the arrow function here. Now I will use let's say I am going to use the filter method here. Now what I'm going to do is, let's say that these do also have, this contains negative values as well. Now I want to convert the values that are greater than 0. Are you understanding the concept here? That I want to convert all the values that are greater than 0 here, rather than the values. Okay, now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put the argument here as the movement and return an array that to contain the value which are greater than 0. Now you have to understand the concept here. Basically till now you have to understand the concept that what is going to happen is this filter method will call this callback function. Okay, we are not calling it explicitly. Now what would happen is this filter method would iterate over each of the element of this movements array. So first it is going to iterate over 100, then 200, then 300, then minus 400, then minus 500, and then put all of this into an array. So let's assume, okay, we are going to use the map method here, and we are going to take the movement. We do know that in these methods the first argument is always the value. I'm not talking about the reduce method right now. The first one is the value, the second one is the index, and the third one is actually the array. Now this is gonna return movement multiplied by euro to USD. Okay, and now I am gonna console it. Okay, so okay, there is an array. Okay, these are all the values that are returned from this map method and this filter method, which is 100. These three values are multiplied by 1.1. Now we do have to understand that this filter method iterates over each of the element of this movements array, and this is not somehow going to happen like this, that it iterates over the first element and returns it to the map method. Okay, so if I'm gonna use the sniper tool here to make a pictorial representation of what's happening here. Okay, choose anyone. Okay, so basically this iterates over 100, then returns a value which is true or false. Okay, and for the element which is true is passed to a new array. So let's say it's 100, then it don't returns it to the map method. The map method don't comes right away, it has to wait, because it has to iterate, the filter method has to iterate over each of the element of the array first. Now when it goes through the 100, it goes through 200, it goes through 300, but don't returns the values other than that, because the forward values are -400, -500, which isn't true. Now these three values, so if I'm going to do this like this, that I'm gonna use I and array here and console array here, then what would happen is array wouldn't contain these elements. Array is actually the original array, which is this one. So each time you are going to console this array, and when each of the element of the array, this array is filtered, then actually a new array which contains the elements that pass through this filter method are returned to the map method. So if you console.log array here, then basically you would get 100, 200, 300. So we are going to do that. So basically we are going to use more than one line, so we have to use the curly braces. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to console log the array here. Okay, and then I'm going to return the movement. Okay, now you would see that 100, 200, 300, these three arrays are returned to us. Okay, so as I said, these arrays are returned because filter method returns at the final stage. Filter method returns this array to the map method, and then basically we are again and again consoling this array method, array, not the actual array. So what we understood from here is that the array is at the filter method is actually the original array, and once all of the elements are filtered, then this array basically is returned to the map method, which contains only the filtered elements, and basically then the map method returns the side affected array or whatever it is. So basically this would return 110, 220 and 330. So what we got to know is basically the array is not, is basically I was first thinking that basically filter method returns an array which contains the first element, then the map method applies to it, and then basically at the end of basically after basically at the end of this line it iterates again to the next element, and then the new array is